What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about INFJs and anger because so many of us never want to deal with it. We either completely avoid it, so we numb ourselves out, we pretend that there's a reason why the other person was acting this way, and we try to keep the illusion of harmony, or we keep reliving this anger. We keep it within us, but we never express it in a healthy way, and so we never get to feel it, heal it, and then change in a way where this anger will never ever be necessary again. So today we're gonna talk about this in detail because I really want to show you some tactics how you can grow from anger, how you can find a great balance between self-respect and forgiveness, and how we can approach anger in a healthy way. Before we get started, I want to remind you the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp is officially launching June 27th. That's when we open up for pre-admission and our early bird prizes. So sign up for the waiting list so you don't miss out. So why is it so hard for INFJs to deal with anger? Well, in a lot of ways, anger is a really uncomfortable feeling. We have to understand that anger is a valid feeling, that we are allowed to feel it, that this doesn't make us a bad person, and that this doesn't necessarily create this harmony in our life. Yes, maybe at first, if you express it, you will see that there will be some reaction, that you won't feel all at comfort in the first moment, but it allows you so much more harmony in the long run. Not only because you allow the other person to see your boundaries and what you care about, but also because you allow yourself to be more authentic. You allow yourself to be more vulnerable, because every single time you express anger in a healthy way, it also shows the other person, this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and now that you know more about me, you have a chance to get to know a realer version of me. The more harmony you keep with that person at first glance, the longer you're playing a game of I'm pretending I'm somebody I'm not. And you know what kind of feelings are always hidden after anger? It's always sadness. Every single time. Once we get to express and feel anger in a healthy way, you get to tap into the sadness that has been underneath it. And only when you tap into the sadness, you get to heal it and then change something about it. Because anger is not supposed to be something that you just let out and then nothing ever happens afterwards. Those are the people who always get angry at the same thing, or you see them from morning till evening being angry at absolutely everything when nothing in particular had happened. We know these kind of people, and these people can be INFJs, but they don't have to. But it's not to say that INFJs never get angry. But what happens is that we so often don't express it. We either keep it in our heart and we hold on to it, or we don't want to admit it to ourselves in the first place. So if you're in the first camp, if you're one of those people who says, I never get angry, then it's time to get angry. Anger is a part of life. And just because INFJs are supposed to be all about harmony and all about well-being, and I just want the best for everybody, I'm going to be the martyr, I don't want to cause even more pain. I used to be like this. I know exactly where this feeling is coming from, and I know that the intentions are good. But in the end, we're doing it because we're afraid of what that's going to say about us, what others are going to say about us. What if people find out that we do have this anger within us? And let's not disregard the fact that we're afraid of that anger because it can be so intense. But this anger will get more and more intense the less you express it, the less you allow your environment to see it. Why are we so afraid to express that anger? Well, as I said, if you haven't expressed it for a long time, on the one hand, you're afraid that this is too much, that people are going to get offended, that you're going to hurt somebody, and also that people are going to have a bad impression of you. But all of this comes back to the fact that you feel you don't have the right to express anger, that you cannot be liked if you express anger. If you're standing there as somebody who has maybe even irrational bursts of anger, then people will look at you and will not see this idealized version that we so often try to create. I very often talk about that we as INFJs have a difficulty expressing our authentic selves, and it's not because we want to hide something or that we're not authentic in the first place. It's because we're afraid of what that's going to say about us. That if we express that people will see that we're not like everybody else, that it's not always about the other person. We feel if I don't focus on being the nice person, the protector, the good girl, the good guy who always wants the best for everybody, if I'm not that person, then how are people going to like me? Why would anybody like me if I'm just like that guy or that girl that I'm thinking about that always expresses anger? But the truth is, anger is a healthy emotion. It's part of our emotional repertoire. And if we don't tap into it, then we are holding on to it. We're holding on to something that doesn't belong in our body. It doesn't belong in our mind. Because very often this anger is something that we have taken on. For one reason or another, we have allowed something to happen and we haven't said anything back. The moment you say something, the moment you express yourself, you have a reaction to somebody else's actions or opinions. You will see that you're holding up a mirror to what the other person just made you feel. But what do you do if you're not even aware of that? If you're one of those people who doesn't even think that the other person is doing something wrong, that you never feel anger, well, then it's time to think about it from a very objective and rational point. I mean, if you would look at really extreme situations, let's say somebody is in a physically abusive relationship. That person will also find a reason why it's not the other person's fault. That person will also see, oh, I can't be mad at them, I just provoked them, or I shouldn't have been so outspoken, and the list goes on and on. So we are able to manipulate our mind into thinking what is good for us. And us as INFJs, as people who have introvert intuition as our first function, this is the function that we develop first as children. So in our earliest stages, we absorb so much of our environment, and then we create stories that make sense to us. And as children, we do need others to survive. So we will tell ourselves stories that will justify other people's bad behavior that has probably absolutely nothing to do with us, but we will justify it. We will find a reason why that's okay and why I should act in a certain way not to provoke that anger. I, for example, always felt like if I would express my anger, people would never want to protect me. People will see me as somebody who has like this dark soul, as somebody who's all selfish and all about herself and doesn't care about others. This is the story I had implanted into my mind, and I know so many INFJs that feel the same. So if you're one of those INFJs who never ever feels angry, then start getting angry. Start allowing yourself to look at a situation from a rational perspective, not in a way of, oh, okay, I know they act this mean way towards me, but I really don't care, I'm above it. Look at it from a perspective, if that person would talk the same way to a third person and you would see it, then you would react, then you would get angry. But you feel like you're much stronger than this, you can take it. But just because you can take it doesn't mean that it's okay for you to take it on. We don't have to prove anything to anybody, and as long as we avoid anger, we will never allow ourselves to grow. Because one of the main ways to grow is to overcome limiting beliefs, is to overcome inner blocks, and we can never do that until we get to a forgiveness point. But how can you forgive if you don't feel the pain? And very often it's not even about that person. Once you allow yourself to tap into your anger and you express that towards the other person, yes, you might go too far. Maybe you'll hurt that person's feelings. I'm not saying that this is okay, but how long are you going to hold on to that pain forever? If somebody's hurting you and you're telling yourself that this is okay, or you're holding on to that anger and you're not expressing it, then you're holding on to that other person's feelings. It is their anger. They acted in a way that hurt your soul. And the moment you express your anger because of that action, you're giving those feelings back. You're simply holding a mirror up. And once you open that vessel and you allow yourself to feel that sadness, then you will see that you've been avoiding to express this anger, not because of that person, but because this is something that you've been holding on for decades maybe. And that somewhere down the road you had a similar situation when you didn't express your anger and you weren't allowed to express your anger. And that is what caused you that pain, that you tried to hide underneath that anger. And this is scary, and it causes us anxiety and this fear of abandonment. But this exactly is the solution. It's to tap into that. It's to feel it. It's to heal it, and then to move on. And if you're somebody who feels angry all the time, then you're also not expressing anger. You're holding on to it. It goes on in your mind and you're feeling it towards everybody maybe. Maybe you're even being too strict to people because there's part of you that you haven't healed yet. Don't get me wrong. Anger is a healthy emotion. Yes, you can go overboard. Yes, you can be somebody who's really aggressive and gets physically abusive, but we're not talking about that. This happens very rarely for INFJs. Most of us hold on to that pain. You know, some personalities tend to express their anger always towards others. Those are bullies, those are narcissists. They have some kind of pain, and because they cannot deal with that pain, they push it away. We, on the other hand, more often than not, go in the direction of self-harm. We take on this pain. We think we are the reason why the other person acted this way, or we get mad why others are not listening to what we have to say, but we don't do anything about it. We just keep living our days with that anger. But the purpose of anger is to push that emotion out so we get to feel what's really going on underneath. What are we really angry about? What are we really sad about? Yes, it might be because that person bullied you once, but it's probably much more that we allowed this to happen over and over again, that we found a reason why it's better to stay quiet, when in the end, we should have protected ourselves. We should have never gotten ourselves in a position where we felt like the victim, but where we take control and we say, I'm okay with people not liking me. I'm okay with people abandoning me. I'm willing to pay that price so I can protect myself, so I can protect my inner child, my sanity, and my right for peace. And once you get to feel that feeling, it's so empowering that you know you're gonna change. You know that you're going to approach life differently, that you take back control of all the things that you allowed for so long. And this is, of course, just an example. I've also heard INFJs be really angry with others because they don't act in a very highly moral way. But at the same time, we're struggling with our own mistakes. We're angry towards others because they represent something that we don't want in ourselves either. But the moment you accept yourself as somebody who makes mistakes, the moment you accept that other people make mistakes, that's the moment when you also allow yourself to express that anger. Because yes, anger is not a beautiful emotion at first, but it's part of it all. It's part of our dark side. It's part of who we are. And it allows us to live out life to the fullest. So don't be afraid of anger. It can be your best friend. Don't hold on to it. Don't avoid it. Express it and learn from it. Don't be afraid that you might go too far. You will catch yourself. You can apologize if it's necessary, but find a balance and find that it's always okay to protect yourself, not just towards others, but also towards yourself. Because sometimes we are our worst enemy, and it's about time that we start being kinder to ourselves. Remember, guys, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ epic life, then sign up for the waiting list for the boot camp. Admission starts June 27th. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And if you want to watch another video now that's in alignment with today's topic, then watch the INFJ Dark Side. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.